My guest today on Hello Darling is Jo Woodfield, a businesswoman, breast cancer survivor, and a testimonial speaker on this year's Brian Gardner Pink Ribbon Ball. I first met Jo in 2012 when she was the first female partner in WRAYS, one of Australia's largest intellectual property law firms. Jo, during her varied and professional career, has lived and worked in London and Malaysia and has traveled the world many times. In 2013, she was managing her team of 7 when breast cancer struck in the form of a lump showing up on a random mammogram. Welcome to Hello Darling, Jo.
Thank you, Barbara.
Jo, do you remember the moment when you got the news?
Yes, vividly, actually. 2013, in October, I was given the news by my breast surgeon that I did in fact have lobular cancer and that it was unpredictable and that I should think about or consider a double mastectomy surgery. And if that cancer had hit my nodes, then I would obviously need to go on to do the chemotherapy journey, which of course I did. So I basically, I was shocked, but at the end of the day, I made the decision to proactively approach this.
What went through your mind when you got it, like the first thought?
Oh God, oh God, really? Yeah, oh God. And then being as, I know from my work that optimism breeds resilience. So it was pretty much, oh God, but what can I do about it? And fast. I wanted to move on it because I knew that the faster we move on it, the faster we can do something positive and with this.
Jo, the cancer journey is obviously very often very complex one. Now, how did you cope with the diagnosis, treatment, and beyond? Take us through the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It is incredibly complex. There's no two stories the same. Every woman's treatment regime, their coping mechanisms are very, very different. So my particular coping mechanism was to actually marginalise as much of the negative energy and the negative emotion from the cancer journey as possible. I did this deliberately because I didn't want to really have it weigh too heavily on my family and my friends. And I was also a partner of a law firm at the time. So, and I was very much wedded to my career. So I made that decision to do business as usual. So really, I have this saying that I almost removed myself from the situation and watched it all unfold, like a little bit like you would a bug under a microscope. And so it allowed me to just take one day at a time, to go easy on myself, not pressurise myself too much, and just roll with it. Yeah.
Did you have to learn to take one day at a time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a reputation of high energy, very fast, instant everything. So that was one of the biggest learnings for me. That and ability to start putting myself first. So I was very wedded to my career. My CEO said, slow down, Jo, you know, we want you to wear out, not burn out, which was really quite poetic when you think about it. So yeah, there's reasons I think that definitely contributed to my cancer, and that was high stress, too much sugar, and a real sedentary lifestyle, not enough exercise. And I think those 3 things were a real ticking time bomb for me, in a sense, really.
And who was your biggest supporter through your journey?
My family. My close family, no doubt about it. My father, he's my rock, my sister, and the girls who were going through this journey with me. Young women sometimes in their 20s and 30s, as well as all the women I met who were going through exactly the same thing as me, providing me that support, that love, that care. What that gave me was inner peace and greater strength as a result of having those women in my life.
So how did you meet these women that were going through the same journey?
Usually at the chemotherapy lab, so got to know them that way, and also off a website called Young Pink Sisters, which is a resource, and it's a closed group only for young women or younger women with breast cancer. So, and that's been a terrific resource, and what we do is buoy each other up and spend time with each other, and that's been helpful to me as well as them.
How did you find out where to meet, where to go, how to find the support?
All the resources. There's a plethora of information out there to people available in terms of resources to support and to help and to find information. Truth be known, there's a lot of crap out there too. So you really have to choose your information wisely. So relying on your medical team, relying on Jane McGrath or, the Breast Cancer Foundation. Really quality resources for that information. Because there's a lot of women who sometimes think about taking an alternative therapy route. But we're talking about your life here. So it's a very important thing to get the information, get it fast, move on it quickly, and don't rely solely on an alternative therapy route, because it's to support a standard complementary.
Jo, in terms of your experience and your journey, the worst and the best experience through your journey?
The worst, the most surprising thing for me during my journey was some people will let you down. Some people won't be there for you during this journey, and sometimes it's some of those people who are closest to you. And that's very surprising, saddening even. So probably that's the worst for me. The worst wasn't the treatment at all. It was actually coming back from cancer. I found that harder than the physical symptoms themselves. They were a bit of a walk in the park for me. Okay, you lose your hair and you get mouth ulcers and you're extremely tired. But this day and age, with the meds that you have, with the cancer journey, those meds, if you stay on top of them, the whole chemo journey isn't the head in the bucket that so many people are used to seeing chemo. That's moved on a lot from there now. So a lot of the options available to you are right there. So the worst was, the survivorship angle, coming back, having that cancer tag. People, I know it's cliched, but people think you're going to be that same person before cancer as you were after cancer, and it's just not the case. You're a different person. You've had to reframe your life, change your life patterns. Some people will drop off out of your world and you'll pick up a whole host of new contacts and friends as a result of this journey, and that for me has been the best, no doubt about it. The people that I've met have throughout this journey have been a blessing, absolute blessing.
Jo, what would be your word of advice for someone that has been recently diagnosed with a breast cancer?
I think for me the most important things are, or would be, to move on it very, very quickly, because 1 week, 1 month can make a big difference in terms of the health outcomes. Practice mindfulness and meditation, because I think this one day at a time philosophy is the most important thing. You will, as a breast cancer sufferer, survivor and beyond, need to find a new normal in your life, that transitioning to a new normal. Your life will look radically different, and that sometimes means, like me, resigning from a high-powered position, possibly changing a non-supportive partner, doing something, or massive life-changing experiences as a result of you having cancer. So taking it easy on yourself, taking one day at a time throughout this is really going to be key.
Do you remember having sorts of regrets when you got diagnosed? Do you remember thinking, if I was...
What, if I wasn't partying so much in London in the 80s and 90s? Yeah, possibly. People ask me, like, why do you think you got sick? And I say, well, with the mountain of medical staff trying to address this. Why would I have the answer to that? It's actually quite interesting, but people think you have some sort of secret inner knowledge about the whole cancer journey, which of course you do. Let me tell you, we all do feel like we belong to a very special club. It's sort of like a secret squirrel club that you belong to. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Now cancer-free for 12 months.
Yes.
How does it feel? And what's been like?
I feel reborn. Like any cancer survivor will tell you, they intimately understand when you go through a life-threatening illness. You do. You feel like you've got a second bite of the cherry, no doubt about it. And this feeling of rebirth is about taking each day at a time, being really grateful for the value and the beautiful people that you have in your life. That's for me. You're aware of the small things, the tiny things that make the difference. You're not so wrapped up and concerned with all of the things, these little things you used to be concerned about before. Now you know the value of things a lot more.
Getting life back to normal. What's your plan? What's your method? What's your system?
Truth be known, right about now, I resigned from my job and I started my own company called The Higher Mix. And I'm thinking to myself, well, people would probably think that was madness to leave such a well-paying job and that security of a partner of a firm to go out on my own and start my own company. But I just think you trust your instincts. I think you know when the time is right for that. And it was certainly right for me, even though you work a lot harder with your own business than when you're working for someone else. Well, I am at the moment, but I'm enjoying it. It's a certain sort of freedom with that goes with that.
So do you think that your cancer journey was absolutely instrumental in giving you the power and the direction in changing your professional direction?
Absolutely. I think you and I had this discussion before, Barbara. You never really understand how strong you are until you have cancer. And in the past, I would have thought, yeah, I've got it together. I'm really strong. But I can tell you after cancer and after you've been through that, you understand then in a whole new light how strong you actually are. And I don't want that to come across as come across in the wrong sort of vein. It's just, I am actually proud of, in a way, of having gone through this journey. I'm proud of myself. All breast cancer survivors should be very proud of themselves for going through this. And especially if you can pay it forward, especially if you can share with others your experiences in your journey, because there's so many women out there. This is 1 in 8. 1 in 8 women are going to be facing this. And so either you, your family, or someone you know is going to be affected by this. So if you can get out there and you can share those experiences firsthand with others, then you make their life easier. It also makes you feel fantastic that you're sharing and helping others. That's been the biggest and best thing for me, helping others, making them laugh. I wanted to share some humour and light across this journey.
Talking about helping others, you had a family history where you helped.
Oh yeah, that's the good part. The good part of this story. I donated my kidney to my cousin in 2010.
Wow.
And when I say that's good luck, by sheer stroke of good luck, I was put on a random mammogramming cycle as a result of that donation. And so in my 40s, I found this lump because I was on that random mammogramming cycle, and that was the 8mm nasty that they found. So, and deciding, and this is what I mean about being very proactive, and so there and then I decided on a double mastectomy rather than a lumpectomy or a single, because the double mastectomy, as a result of that, they actually found in the pathology a worse type of cancer lurking in the other breast. So thankfully I did the double mastectomy. So that's what I mean about being really proactive, making good choices, and staying positive. And because I think if you can go with the best medical team you can afford, that gives you a sort of feeling of confidence and security about your journey, that you know that you've got the best on the case.
Of course. Joe, you were the testimonial speaker at Brian Gardner Pink Ribbon Ball 2015. Was it your first guest appearance or this kind of appearance since your journey?
I loved it. It was fantastic. No, it wasn't my first. I spoke at Crown Casino on the business of culture. I've done several different smaller speeches, but that was my favourite. It was my favourite because I was talking from the heart about a very personal journey. And it was very relevant. I think I shared a lot of information about the head and the heart journey of cancer as opposed to the treatment regimes of cancer, because that obviously resonated with people anyway. Most people are used to the whole cancer journey being about chemotherapy, etc. So I wanted to lighten it up. So I wanted to share what was going on in the head and the heart during a journey, because not many people talk about that. During a cancer journey, it's a very personal thing. You feel very vulnerable and very battle-scarred, really. So not a lot of people open up about those aspects. So I wanted to do that for them, and so I hope they really enjoyed it. So.
Joe, what did you learn from your journey, and what would you like to leave our viewers with?
I think mindfulness, one day at a time. What did I learn from my journey? I learned to not be so hard on myself. I learned to lean on others more than I ever would have, because I'm Miss Perfect. It has to be me doing everything. So that was a massive learning curve. I learned that there are so many beautiful, amazing, caring, supportive people in this world, and I can do my piece as part of that. And people ask me, you know, how I felt about the whole journey. To me, it wasn't too much of a negative thing. You know, people sometimes say that it's a gift, and it does. It alters your life. It stops. It makes you stop and look in the mirror and see things with this amazing clarity that you'd never seen, and lucidity that you'd never seen before. So, yeah.
Joe, thank you so much, and best of luck.
Thank you, Bye.
Thank you.